Hey, what's up, everybody? I wanted to make this quick video, real quick, about 1099 cancellation of debt forms that some of you may be getting. And this is really jumping off real big right now because a lot of people probably had cancellation of debt either from student loans or credit card companies where the company just said we're gonna, what I think people get confused about it, they're like, if they wrote off the debt, uh, how are they able to come after me for it if they wrote it off? They're thinking that it was canceled, and that's what I've been trying to get across to people. Just because a company writes off a debt or charges it off, that's nothing but a legal technicality that all companies have to do for loans that are out there, because they have investors that they have to do, they have to report to, and they have to say what happened with these loans, and they give, it's usually a 6 month period before they have to write it off, and then when they redo the reporting, they're letting people, their investors, know that these are the debts that did not go through, that are not going to be going through. They can sell that debt to a debt collection company. They can still collect the debt. Now, the only time that they can't collect the debt is if they actually write it off as a cancellation of debt, and that's when they report to the federal government using a form 1099-C, stating that they have forgiven the debt. But now this is where it, on the flip side, what happens to you if you find yourself receiving one of these forms in the mail is that the IRS is going to consider that income. So let's just say, for instance, you had a $10,000 credit card balance, and you got the credit card company decided to cancel that debt. They're going to send this form to you, and they're also going to send it to the federal government, and the federal government is going to wait and see what you're going to do when you file your taxes. If you do not include a copy of this, or you do not state it that you had a cancellation of debt and add that amount to your income, you're going to get automatically triggered for an audit. And but a lot of people are confused about that because they're like, I didn't get the money because they, it was on the credit card and I bought stuff with it. That's where you need to put your plus and your 1 plus 1 equals 2 thinking together. You use the credit card to buy things that you wanted, and so that means that even though you didn't directly get the money, you indirectly were able to use the money, and that's why the credit card company can write that off. Now, coming to my mind right now, some things that you need to be careful of when dealing with this is, number one, be careful of them blowing up the amount of the cancellation of debt. You want to make sure that the amount that is canceled was the actual amount that you owed. Because let's just say, for instance, they waited for 2 or 3 years, and then they let that balloon up, a $10,000 credit card debt up to 20,000. And they send you a $20,000 cancellation of debt form. That you didn't get $20,000 worth of income, so you would need to make sure that this is correct. So even if they did do that and you remember it being something different, you need to let the IRS know that. They're going to probably still try to audit you over it, but you need to let them know right away that you did not receive $20,000, that you did not have a balance of $20,000, and that this cancellation of debt form that they sent you is inaccurate, and they will follow back up with that company and make sure that they make the appropriate changes. You also need to write a letter and get it certified and send that to the company and tell them that you did not borrow that amount of money and that you do not think that that's an accurate amount on there, and let them know that you have notified the IRS that they have that they've turned in an inaccurate cancellation of debt form to them. Now, uh, something else that I put on here is that if you do get this notice cancellation of debt, you are never obligated to pay the original creditor any money. Now, what I've been seeing happen is that debt collection companies have taken that money, have purchased those old debts, and they're going after people that don't know their rights. If you ever receive something that you believe that you know was canceled from the previous holder of the debt or a previous creditor, you need to do what's called a validation. You validate the debt. You need to make sure that it wasn't canceled. When you do a validation, you want to ask those questions because they're not going to answer any questions that they don't want to answer. They're only going to answer what you put in that letter. So you want to ask them to make sure that this debt was not canceled. You want to find out if they own the debt or did they are they just collecting it for the original creditor. All of these things, there's a whole bunch of things that you need to ask for. Things like if they've purchased a debt, then you want to ask for all of your credit card charges, your signatures, everything to prove that they, number one, have purchased a debt and have legal authorization to collect the debt. And then you want to ask them for the documentation on when they purchased the debt. And they will give that to you if you ask the questions the right way. But if you don't do that and then you end up making one payment to a debt that has been canceled, you can technically be legally binded to that new contract, even though that contract would not be void. The only way you'll be able to void out that contract is to take them to court, because when you've made that payment, even if it was canceled out debt, you've actually initiated a new contract with that collector, even though it's 100% illegal for them to do that. But what are you going to do? Are you going to pay the money to take them to court and open this whole thing back up? Some people get afraid. Some people are scared. They don't know their rights. So they just end up paying the money. Now, if for some reason, and I'm making this video in response to a YouTube question that came about and some questions that were on Facebook. If you happen to pay that debt, even though you had the cancellation of debt, and you know the IRS is going to consider that as income, what you need to do is whoever you paid the debt to, you need to request a W-9 form from them. So if it was a collection agency that you paid the money to, request a W-9 form from them as proof that you paid them the money. I'm going to tell you the reason why you need to do that and why your receipt will not work for that. It will work, but it's going to work later. You need to do this so you can head off what the IRS is going to try to do. They work by having these types of documents. That W-9 form looks similar to this, but it says W-9, and it's going to have the company's information, and and then you'll be able to state that you sent them a payment. You're going to get their information so you can then fill out a form back to them showing that you have a 1099, which is there's a 1099 form. There's different ones, but you need to pick the one that you've paid someone money, and as long as it's over $600 in a year, you can fill out that form. So you get the W-9 form, which will have their information, their tax ID number. Then you're gonna on a 1099 form for independent contractors, or that you paid a non-employee money. You're going to fill out that form with their information, your information, that for whatever amount that you paid them, and that way it'll block the IRS from thinking that you had that extra income. And then the next step would be to take them to court, or you can try to get everything worked out without going to court by providing the debt collection company the information about the cancellation of debt from the original creditor, and that you believe that you were defrauded by them and that you should not have had to pay that collection, that at the time you did not understand, and that you would like to have all of the monies refunded in a timely manner that you paid on the cancellation of debt collection, that they were on the debt that was canceled, but when they brought it to you, you didn't understand your rights, and that you didn't know that you didn't have to pay that debt legally. So if you need any assistance, or you can always go to our website, thecreditrepairshop.com. We have a blog on there. You can watch more of my videos, and you can post your comments, because I think that there's just so many questions out there, and a lot of people are not given the correct information when it comes to it. So I do this. I make time to do this to help people like you out, so you can keep more of your money to take care of the things that you need to take care of. So again, this is Stephen Williams with the creditrepairshop.com. Thank you.